no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what is going on? You are watching the Las Vegas Raiders Report, the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube. What exactly is on tap for y'all today? I'm going to be breaking down the top 10 defensive tackles that the Las Vegas Raiders should go out and target and potentially sign. Before we get into some of those players, we're going to break down exactly when free agency starts. It starts March 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Tampering period's basically like 48 hours prior when you can actually start calling some of these players. But we did get an update. The NFL salary cap is set for $180 million. We've been saying about $180.5, so, we weren't too off. Now, currently, the Raiders have minus $7.2 million in terms of cap space. If you go on Spotrac or if you go on Over the Cap, you're going to see a different number. What I did for you is simply just already did the math, took Tyrell Williams off the books because even though it isn't official yet, the Raiders have also announced that they are going to move on from Tyrell Williams. So the projected cap space right now for this team is minus $7.2 million. But that's what we do here. We go above and beyond. We're trying to keep you guys updated as humanly possible. So if you're not already subscribed, please do. We are a YouTube channel made for Raider Nation, made by Raider Nation, and it's one of the most fastest growing YouTube channels out there right now, but it's because of the dedication and it's because of the silver and black. It's unlike any fan base. So if you do bleed silver and black and you're always looking for the latest news and rumors around the Las Vegas Raiders, seriously, hit the big red button that says subscribe and join me for my live shows Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. All right, y'all, so how exactly did I rank these defensive tackles? We're going to go from 10 all the way down to 1, and I did it based on overall talent, overall scheme fit, and how I thought they would potentially fit with the players we already had and the Gus Bradley system. So at number 10, I'm going to go here with Deatrich Wise, defensive tackle from the New England Patriots. If you're looking for an efficient pass rusher that can also play defensive line DT, this is kind of your dude here. 57 total pressures on 452 pass rush snaps, which is actually top 10 in the National Football League last season. The issue is he's not very good against the run, but there is a position here which he could fit. Last season, the Raiders, they went out and signed Malik Collins to a one-year contract, $6 million. Collins was also known for being a defensive tackle that really wasn't very good against the run, but was an efficient rusher trying to get after the quarterback. He's not going to be coming back, Malik Collins, at least, God, I hope not. And then if that's the player that you're looking for, maybe you could get Wise on a contract for like $7 million a year. He's also 26 years old. He's not quite bulked up like a lot of these other defensive tackles, but at the end of the day, if you're looking for a little bit more pass rush, Wise is a guy to keep in mind. Let's go to number 9 here on my list. I'm going to go Derek Wolfe. Some of y'all probably remember him from his days with the Denver Broncos, and that's where he played his first 8 years. And then last season, spent his first season with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'll be honest with y'all. He's probably built a little bit more for a 3-4 defensive scheme, but the reason why I decided to put him in my top 10, anytime if I can find a player that has 8 years of playing experience in the AFC West, that also means he knows what Gus Bradley was doing. It also means he knew what the Raiders were doing and a lot of the other opponents. But if you're also looking for somebody that could play edge and defensive tackle, it could be somebody to keep in mind. So last season, the Raiders, they were moving Klee, defensive tackle, and edge. What if when Klee goes inside, you could put Derek Wolfe on the outside? At the end of the day, you need to be able to find a lot more depth. I get the fact that the Raiders just brought back David Irving, which was another move I was a little surprised about. But if you can find versatility and some older players, maybe that's something that Jon Gruden's going to be interested in. So this is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. What I want to know is who should be the Raiders' #1 free agent target at the defensive tackle position. So when y'all are getting hit with that YouTube ad break, I want you to scroll on down and let me know. Let's go to number 8 here. We got DaQuan Jones, who played DT/edge again for the Tennessee Titans. The reason why I like him, he's versatile, right? So he lined up anywhere last season for Tennessee. The 0 technique to 3 technique. Was the defensive line for Tennessee very good last year? No, it wasn't. But he is average against the run and average against the pass. You're basically going to get just a here it is type of player, and you can put him in on pass and rushing situations. But he was able to play in over 760 snaps each of the last 2 seasons. Now, he's a guy from Penn State, actually somebody that I remember watching all the way back in my days from Pennsylvania. 29 years old, 49 tackles last year, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss. When I really look at the numbers, he's probably going to be making somewhere around $7.5 million a year, but the Raiders do have money to be able to spend and I am curious to see what they do with a guy like Jonathan Hankins as well. Speaking of money, I got a special deal going on right now. If you guys like these Raiders Against the World t-shirts, and we show a lot of different products on the show, there's not many more that are more real than these t-shirts right here, because I think we would all agree it's Raiders Against the World. Maybe I'll get some Raiders Against the NFL type of shirts. But go to chatsports.com/RaidersWorld where you can save $5 if you go out and get these bad boys right now. Usually $24.99. They are on sale right now for $19.99. It's chatsports.com/RaidersWorld. If for some reason you don't have a screen or if you forget it, I'm going to put that link in the comments and in the description. Number 7 on my list, we're going to go to Sheldon Rankins here. In terms of talent, Rankins probably could be a lot higher on this list, but I also based off this on how much you're probably going to have to pay a player. I anticipate Rankins getting somewhere around $11 million a year on the free agent market. Maybe you can convince me he's going to get 10, but he's a great run defender, and he's decent against the pass. 43 total pressures the past 2 seasons. That's in 22 games played. Honestly, that's not good whatsoever. If you remember, the first player we talked about, he had 57 in 1 year. 43 in 2 seasons, essentially. Now, Rankins has missed 10 games since 2019, which definitely is a little bit of a red flag. If you could guarantee me that he's going to play 14, 15, 16 games, I'm telling you what right now, I'd put him a lot higher because he's also a younger player who's played with some pretty dominant defenses. One of the top players that's been linked to the Raiders, at least this offseason, has been Marcus Williams. Maybe you could bring in Marcus Williams. Maybe you could also bring in Sheldon Rankins. I definitely wouldn't mind those two. All right, let's go to number 6 here on my list. Ndamukong Suh. What this man has been able to do for such a long time, it just speaks volumes to how hard he still works and just how much of an alpha he truly is. So again, another player here is probably built a little bit more for a 3-4 scheme, but if you're looking for somebody that can help your defensive line, that's what Ndamukong Suh is going to be able to do. The Raiders have been looking for an alpha in the secondary, hence Richard Sherman. They're also going to be looking for an alpha on the defensive line. That's exactly what Suh's done. But maybe out of all the numbers that I've looked at, the fact that he's missed 2 games since 2010, and those 2 games came in 2011, that's mind-blowing to me. I mean, this guy, he plays as many snaps as humanly possible. He had a good year last year with 6 sacks and 19 quarterback hits. Out of all the players that I'm going to bring up here on today's show, that's the most quarterback hits. So I understand he's 34 years old. I don't know how many good years he has left, but I still know this. He's going to put in the work, and he's going to get guys to get the most out of themselves. I will say this, though, again. The defensive line and the pass rushers in Tampa Bay were a lot better than what you would see here for Las Vegas, so I do anticipate his numbers to come down a little bit, which is one of the other reasons why I didn't have him in my top 5. Before I get into my top 5 here, Raider Nation spreads far and it spreads wide. I normally say shout out the cities on our live shows, but you know what? I'm curious. I hope this video gets seen for not just a few days, but for months on end. So go down in the comments section. Let me know, shout out your city. And if I'm coming to a city near you, I'm going to be in Nashville, Tennessee this year, I believe. June 19th, if anybody lives near there, hit me up on IG at Mitchell Renz 365. Now, if there's any other questions that you guys have going on with the Raiders, or if there's a defensive tackle, you're like, dude, you missed this guy. Go watch his tape. Slide into my DMs at Mitchell Renz 365. That's why I have them open, because it's a lot easier to get in contact with me on my Instagram. I'm on it every day, so let's start talking. Let's start talking Raiders. All right, it's time now to get into my top 5. Let's go to Shelby Harris, who some of y'all remember. He played with the Raiders in 2014, 2015. Never really got a good opportunity, / he also didn't really play well. And then he goes to Denver. And it was pretty good from there on out. Now, he played in only 11 games in 2020, finished the season on IR with the knee. So I definitely would like an update on how healthy he is and where he exactly stands right now, and if he can even stand. Horrible joke, I know. But in my opinion, over the last 3 seasons, he's been a top 20 defensive tackle. And if you're like, I don't care about your opinion, he's also been top 20 tackle on PFF as well. Only 29 years old, coming off a year where 32 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss. Again, this is in 11 games. But he also did that when Denver had a lot of pieces missing on the defensive line, especially one in Von Miller. But at 29 years old, maybe you bring a guy back, give him a second chance, especially for a player who's been in the AFC West his entire career. Let's go to number 4 on my list here. Now, out of all the other players, they're unrestricted free agents. Number 4 on my list is Poona Ford, who is a restricted free agent. So what exactly does that mean? So a player with 3 accrued seasons and an expired contract. Restricted free agents are free to negotiate and sign with any team, but their original team can offer them one of various qualifying offers. We call them tenders. They come with a rate or the right of first refusal or draft pick compensation. If the tender is withdrawn by a team, the RFA becomes an unrestricted free agent. So in 2021, teams must submit their tenders before 4 p.m. Eastern Time on March 18th. So that's when the new year is, okay? So he played in 670 snaps last season. I fully anticipate Seattle to put a tender on this young dude because he is a phenomenal player, and since he's come in to the NFL in 2018, he's proven to be one of the best run stoppers in the National Football League, and in fact, elite talent. If he were to become an unrestricted free agent, I might even put him at number 2 on my list. Like, that's how good he's been, because he's also only 25 years old. 40 tackles last year, 2 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss. The Seattle defensive line has been bad. It has not been, though, because of Poona Ford. I anticipate them placing a tender. It could be a second-round tender, which basically means, like, if the Raiders want him, they probably have to give up a second-round pick for him. We'll see what ultimately happens. If that does happen, I don't anticipate the Raiders going out and trying to get Poona Ford. So let me know in the comment section, what's the bigger need right now? Obviously, y'all could just say defense and, we just wash our hands and move on. But when I look at the biggest needs for this defense, I'm saying it's still defensive tackle and it's safety. So let me know in the comments below, type safety or type DT. A video that I made a few weeks ago was the top 10 free agent safeties that the Raiders could go out and target. If you missed that show, hey, please go check it out. We're always breaking down videos here. But seriously, if you're wondering if there's a certain position that the Raiders need, type in Raiders Report, free agent safeties, Raiders Report, free agents, or Raiders Report, offensive free agent. Like, we have so many videos here, I lose track. Over 1,000 videos in 2 years. So just another reason to subscribe and keep watching our shows. Top 3 time, let's go to Dalvin Tomlinson, who I believe he's like this above average. I don't want to put the word great, but he's like a very solid run defender. But he needs to improve as a pass rusher. If he can improve as a pass rusher, I don't know if he could jump my guy on the number 2 list. However, he needs to be able to play in a little bit more snaps to me. Now, over 595 snaps the past 3 seasons. That is impressive. I don't want to take that away. But when you see some other players like a Suh playing close to 1,000, or the guy who's next up on our list playing 1,000, like, that's the type of production and snaps that I need. But when he is on the field, he is very effective. 6'3", 318 pounds, only 26 years old. If you were to put him on the line next to, I don't know, Jonathan Hankins, you have both Tomlinson and Jonathan Hankins, and then you have Cleveland Ferrell and Max Crosby, that's a much better defensive line, especially when you watch the Raiders. I mean, we always talk about edge rushing, right, or getting after the quarterback. The Raiders got ripped apart at the end of the season last year, giving up big-time runs. Dalvin Tomlinson would be a great player to make sure that that doesn't happen. Number 2 on my list, it's J.J. Watt, who has already been released and it's already been confirmed that he is not going to be going back with the Houston Texans. When healthy, let's just face it, he's one of the best defensive linemen in the National Football League. Some of y'all are going to be like, wait, Mitch, he's listed as an edge rusher on PFF, or he's listed as a defensive end, or he was for the Houston Texans. That's because they run a 3-4 scheme. Realistically, if he were to come and play with the Raiders, he would be a defensive tackle. Now, let me also just say this. There is a very, very slim chance that Watt ends up playing for the Raiders because he's already said that he wants to play for a contender. He wants to get a lot of money. I'm not saying the Raiders aren't a contender, but we also have to be realistic here. If you could go play for a team like him, the Packers, who are 13-3, probably has a better chance of winning. If he wants to play with his brothers in Pittsburgh, also a possibility there as well. He is a good player. He is a great leader. I would love to see him in silver and black. I put him at number 2 on my list because, again, it's based on talent, it's based on fit, and it's really based on overall how much I think he could impact this defense. At number 1, and this one is not much of a surprise if you guys have been watching the show for a while, I absolutely love Leonard Williams. If I were to be in a room right now with Gus Bradley, Jon Gruden, Mike Mayock, I would say you need to make Leonard Williams your number 1 priority this offseason. Why? Because if you want to build that Gus Bradley defense, you need a ridiculous defensive tackle, and that's exactly what you're going to get in Leonard, right? So played in over 700 snaps the past 3 seasons, and I believe it's over 800 2 of the last 3 seasons as well. Grew up a Raiders fan. He's also said multiple times that he'd be interested moving back out to the West Coast. Nevada is the West Coast, in my opinion, but also being able to suit up in the silver and black. Watching him at USC was fun. And I get that it was not the best start with the Jets, even though I still thought he was an incredibly talented player. And then with the Giants, 2 teams that aren't very good. But he's still only 26 years old. and he had 11.5 sacks last year, 16 tackles for loss. He is elite at getting after the quarterback, and he is elite at stopping the run. If you are looking to build your defensive line, look no further than Leonard Williams. This is by far the #1 player that I want the Raiders to go out and sign in free agency. So let me know in the comments who's the best free agent DT. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you don't agree that it's Leonard Williams. It's all good. That's what the show's about here. So if you think it's Leonard and you agree with me, type LW. Maybe you think it's JJ Watt, type JJ. Or if you think it's Dalvin Tomlinson DT, if you think it's somebody totally different that I didn't end up bringing up, let me know down in the comments section. I want you to comment other. So here's some other DT free agents that the Raiders, or this is my top 10 list that the Raiders should target. You got Deatrich Wise, Derek Wolfe, DaQuan Jones, Sheldon Rankins, Ndamukong Suh, Shelby Harris, Poona Ford, Dalvin Tomlinson, J.J. Watt, and Leonard Williams. Now, some other players that I've been asked about are some of these guys here. Maybe they didn't quite crack my top 10, but a guy like Lawrence Guy, he's getting up there in age. Larry, I'm sorry, Okajanobi, I couldn't pronounce his last name, but I did watch a little bit on him. Solid player there as well. Roy Robertson Harris is a good rotational player. Christian Covington, Adam Butler. Now, some defensive tackles that I want the Raiders to avoid. Kawan Short just got released. He's just not healthy at this point in his career, and I don't anticipate him being healthy. I might get a lot of people angry with Tyson for the simple fact that he is graded out as being a very good defensive tackle on Pro Football Focus, but this is my thing. He's only been good the last 2 years, and it's only been with the Pittsburgh Steelers. No offense to the Raiders. They don't have a defense. They don't have the talent that Pittsburgh had around them. I'm going to go back and watch his film when he used to play on some other football teams that, let's just be honest, weren't as talented. And then Jaleel Johnson, absolutely not. He's not good at all. And then Jack Crawford, another player that I'm going to respectfully totally avoid. Now, if you guys made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Scroll on down in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't already, hit that big red button that says subscribe.